Do you think this is a bounce in the overall market or the beginning of the end of the bear market? Oof, Ryan, great question. I think it's just a bounce in the market. I don't think the bear market's over. I do believe we will have a mild recession at some point. I do not believe that we are going to get out of this without a recession. I've been very vocal about this for the last several months, that I believe that we will see a recession, just a mild one. I've never been in the camp of the world is ending, Great Depression, market's going to go down 80%, everyone's going to go and stand on, bread lines and soup kitchens. I was never in that camp. Even when the markets were crashing in September and October, I stayed firm that that's not the case that I see happening. But I'm also not in the camp that says that we're going to have a soft landing. And I'm just going off of history. The success rate of the Fed going through a rate hike cycle and pulling off a soft landing is around 20%. That's how successful the Fed has been in history, going through rate hike cycles and achieving a soft landing. Now, in the mid-90s, they did achieve a soft landing. It was a 94, 95 rate hike cycle. They did achieve a soft landing. When you look at every recession that we've ever had in history has been preceded by one of the following: either a rate hike cycle caused a recession, an inverted yield curve, or an oil price shock, meaning the price of oil shot higher out of nowhere very quickly, and it just shocked the hell out of consumers, and it really hurt everybody's spending power. Every recession in history was preceded by one of those three events. In 2022, all three of them happened. Rate hike cycle, which also happens to be the fastest rate hike, most aggressive rate hike cycle in history. An oil price shock, oil went to $120 a barrel. And you have a very deeply inverted yield curve from short term to long term. So you have a fully inverted yield curve. At every point of the curve, it's inverted. You had an oil price shock, and you have the fastest, most aggressive rate hike cycle in history. That is a surefire recipe for a recession. However, I always think it's important to talk about both sides of the argument. Now, I already told you I believe we have a mild recession. The people that say we're not going to have a recession, one of the arguments that they make, and it's a valid one, it does not deserve to just be poo-pooed and thrown under the rug. Very smart people are also, analysts from Goldman Sachs doesn't think we're going to have a recession. Jim Liebenthal doesn't think we're going to have a recession. Tom Lee doesn't think we're going to have a recession. Bill Belsky doesn't think we're going to have a recession. Ed Yardeni doesn't think that we're going to have a recession. Jeremy Siegel doesn't think that we're going to have a recession. These are very, very, very smart people. Does it mean that they're stupid if we do have a recession? No, they have their reasons. They have their thoughts. I have mine. Does it mean that I'm stupid if we don't have a recession? No, I have my reasons. They have theirs. One of the things that they say is, well, yeah, you've never had those things happen and there not been a recession, but you've also never had trillions of dollars get dropped into an economy from both the Federal Reserve and the government. That's also never happened before. This entire scenario of COVID and then the post-COVID era, the post-COVID recovery, is going to be wrote about in economic books for decades to come. Your great-great-grandchildren are going to learn in college about the COVID era because things have happened that have never been done before. So the impact of all of these things on the economy is really unknown. You don't have anything to look back upon and say, well, when this happened, this happened. You don't have that. There is no cause and effect to look back upon. So I hear that argument. I get it. Makes sense if you want to make that stance, but I believe that we will have the recession. I just believe it'll be mild, and I believe it'll be short-lived. So I don't think that the bear market is over yet. You see, because the stock market bottoms during a recession. Stock markets don't bottom before recessions. They don't bottom after recessions. So the only way that the bear market's over is if we end up not having a recession. If we don't have a recession, then yes, that October low is your low and the bear market will be over this year. That's if you don't have a recession. But if you think we will, then the low of the year, then the low is not in because the stock market won't bottom until you're actually in a recession.